year 1989, 11 years old. I was 11, stopped breathing one night and immediately came out my body, started raising up, went through the ceiling of my parents' house. I could see the trees, I could see the houses, I could see the neighborhood. Then I started seeing the earth as I'm going higher and higher and higher and higher. Everything started getting smaller and smaller. And next thing I know, I'm going through these weird tunnels at the speed of light. And all of a sudden,
William, you stopped breathing and you were taken to heaven where you saw something amazing. So William, tell me more.
Well, the year 1989, 11 years old. I was 11. I have like a bit of sleep apnea. I didn't realize what it was. So stopped breathing one night as a teenager, and immediately came out my body. Immediately, it's like you kind of know you stop. It's like I felt myself stop breathing, and I just calmly just relaxed. And it was like I came directly out of my body, started raising up, went through the ceiling of my parents' house. I could see the house start. It was like you're flying. There's there's a saying, the weight of the world. The body has no weight. The soul has no weight. I raised up. I could see the trees. I could see the houses. I could see the neighborhood. Then I started seeing the earth as I'm going higher and higher and higher and higher. Everything started getting smaller and smaller till it's just like bloop. And next thing I know, I'm going through these weird tunnels, real at the speed of light. You're moving at the speed of light. You're moving all kind of tunnels. You see different kind of flashbacks, particular times when you was either a kid or, whatever you're seeing, different flashbacks, your parents, you. Then that disappears. You go through a dark tunnel, and all of a sudden, it was like I was flying. And immediately behind me at some point of me going into all these different quasars and portals, it was balls of light. At least 5 big balls of light appeared right behind me. 2 was on the left side of me. 2 was on the right side of me. 1 directly was behind me, and it grabbed me. And as it grabbed me, we just started flying. They were radiant balls of light, like bright, that you can't even see them with your regular eyes. And they were blinding. And as we were flying, I tried to look behind me, like I'm just easing over, you're easing over your shoulder to look behind you. The angel, it had been an angel because it spoke. And it says, do not look at us. Whatever you do not turn around and do not look at us. So years later, I find out that they say that the sight of an angel is terrifying because it's something we've never seen. It's something, we probably can't even imagine. I know in the book of Enoch, they say he saw it and he was horrified, just terrified at what he saw. They take me, we're flying together at the speed of light. I see an escalator, 1 escalator going down, 1 escalator's going up, long escalators like I've never seen before. You got clouds. A friend of mine died as well from an infection and came back, saw the same exact thing. This is the same account that I saw. They took me to this area when we got up the escalator, and I could see people on the left, people sitting on the right, some people standing, talking, they're having different conversations. There was a table, like a long little desk, and there were people gathered around this one guy. And it looked like these could have been, and my soul was telling me these are disciples. These could have been Peter. It could have been whoever the disciples were, but they were surrounding the same guy that everybody was there fellowshipping with. And this guy, the angel said, go to him. There he is right there. And as I'm walking towards him, they let me go. I'm walking towards him. I can see on the left and the right sides also, there are scrolls with writing I could not understand. Writing on different scrolls, all kind of scrolls and books of scrolls and books and books. And as I walk up to him, the man looks down because, I was like maybe a teen. I was young. The man looks down, holds his hands out and smiles at me. His energy drew me in. It's an energy that I've never seen before. I've never seen this kind of energy. I've never felt this kind. It was like love, the energy of love that draws you in to where you're just powerless. And when I saw him, he turned around, I knew immediately in my mind and my soul that was Jesus. I knew it was him. He was about 6 feet, the shoulder length hair. You could see like just the aura around him, like you're in the clouds, kind of. You could see the blur. It turned blurry a little bit, but then I could see him, and I immediately fell on my knees. Immediately, I fell, and he said, "Get up, stand up." And he talked to me. He said, "Who sent you here? Who told you to come here? I didn't send for you yet. I didn't call for you yet." And I'm like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? And he said, "Well, you have to go back." But I didn't want to go back. I did not want to come back to earth. I did not want to leave his presence. A friend of mine named Randy said the same exact thing when he came back, when the people pumped his chest and he came back too. He said he had the same exact experience that I had. He saw the same man, and the man said, "I did not send for you just yet. What are you doing here?" So when he turned around, he opened his arms and smiled, and it just drew him in. So he couldn't believe it. But he told me, "I had more work to do. You got to go back." And the same way that the angels took me in, they immediately were behind me in the same formation, the 5 of them. And the one was grabbing me, guiding me, and brought me back to earth. The same exact way that I left. I came back into the room. My soul was there. I saw my body laying in the bed. As a matter of fact, I know I said I was about 11, but no, I was 16 at the time, 16 years old, not 11. But I had a different experience at 11, which was my baptism. But I was 16 at this time where I stopped breathing. And I was trying to figure out how to get back in my body. And I'm standing there like, how do I get back in? I'm confused. Because, this is an out of body experience. How do you don't know how to come out of it. You don't know how to get back in. But it's like I stood up over myself. I went back in, just like you see on a movie. It's the same exact thing. But when I got back in my body, my soul went back in my body. I sat up, and the air went right in my lungs. When I sat up, I said, and sat up like I had how a person would have a nightmare or they jump out of their sleep. I jumped up and looked around, and I was back in my body. But I saw myself laying in the bed because I stood over myself. My soul was over my body, and I went back in. And I'm telling you, it's an experience like I couldn't believe what I saw. Like he was standing there just as plain as day. The spirit that everybody, the most talked about spirit on the earth, the most talked about spirit ever. He was right there in front of me, plain as day. And I know a lot of people don't believe, there's a lot of controversy about God, but I'm telling you, he stood right there and said, "You got to go back. You have more work to do. Who sent you? And I didn't call for you yet," with a smile on his face. But he was the friendliest spirit, friendliest man you ever meet.
Man, it's interesting that he said, "Who sent you?" As if like somebody else has power to send you out of this life, right? I guess, like, how do you interpret that? Like, who sent you? Is there another authority that can send you to him?
That's interesting. We know that there are demons. I have had experiences as well. My first experience was falling into hell at about 6 years old. My mom had just started taking me to church. I had no idea about heaven. I didn't know anything about hell. My biggest thrill, I'm going outside playing with other kids and playing with toys. I didn't know anything about God. I didn't know anything about the devil, but I found myself at 6 years old falling This same reoccurring dream every night, maybe since I was like 4 or 5. I didn't understand what was going on, but I would have this dream that I was falling and falling and falling. And this darkness is beyond darkness that you can imagine. This is beyond dark. It's not like somebody cut the lights off on you. I've seen other people on different shows and have accounts when they say this darkness is beyond darkness. This is darkness you have never seen or experienced before. I fall and I wake up. Then something would be tickling me uncomfortably out of my sleep, and I could feel these hands tickling me, harassing me every other night since I was about 3 or 4. This particular night, I fall. Same exact dream, same exact experience. It's like I fell through my bed. And it may have been that I was having sleep apnea and died in my sleep several times. But when I tell you this particular night, I was in this place on top of this mountain. And you know how they draw the illustrations of what hell looks like on YouTube and on TikTok, all these places. This is real. It's a circle. And you're standing on this mountain and it looks blackish and grayish, and you can see sparks of fire in different spots. A demon, a ugly demon was shaped like a hunchback with eyes and just different. He was just hideous. Pushed me. He was pushing several people one by one into this dark hole. It's the same black hole that's darker than pitch black. You sense that other people are falling with you. You can hear them scream. Your soul is screaming. I finally hit the bottom. I never hit the bottom, but it seemed like I was falling forever. And I hit the bottom. I landed, but I wasn't injured. Whatever it was, I was shielded from the fall. Another demon walked up, grabbed me, and started nailing me, chained me like a dog. Put chains all over me, chained my arms. He chained my legs. He put chain around my neck. When you're falling into hell, you have no strength. You are miserable, completely miserable off the jump. When you hit hell, you are completely miserable. Everything about that place is miserable. You can't run. You have no strength. Your soul is screaming. Maybe not even the voice. How people say they hear people screaming. They're hearing the soul screaming. Your soul is screaming to the top of his lungs. I mean, screaming and screaming and screaming. This thing was nailing me to the ground as it was holding me as if I was in some kind of holding cell or holding pit. All of a sudden, a big bright ball of light appeared. It may have been an angel. I thought it looked like could have been the Virgin Mary to me or something. But this angel, it looked like the face of a bird, and it lit up and it walked over, and that demon, all demons were afraid. When I'm talking about, they were bitterly shook by the sight of this angel or whatever this angel was. It didn't have a human face. It had the face kind of a nun. It looked like a nun. You know, when a nun has that veil, that hoodie thing, and this thing looked like some kind of, I'd never seen nothing like that. I can vaguely describe it. It was big, walked over and violently snatched the chain off of me, grabbed me, and walked me away from that demon. And when I tell you, them demons was shaking and they was laying on the ground shaking. That's another experience I had, falling into hell. You know, so I've seen heaven and hell several times.
Wow. What about the baptism experience? Tell me more about that one.
11 years old. The year was 1989 to be exact, west side of Atlanta. I had by then got used to going to church, Sunday school, Bible study, all these things. I decided to give my life to Christ. I had read a portion of the Bible which was showing why, how he got crucified. And I just remember weeping and weeping and weeping. Like, how could they kill an innocent man like this? Why would they? But I later understood he died for our sins. So I get baptized. My pastor at the time was a man named Reverend Solomon Whitfield Jr. He's the father of the comedian DC Young Fly. This is before DC Young Fly was born, or right before that. He was our pastor. Um, I get baptized later on that night. This had to have been like January because I remember this is football season. It's the playoff season. I love football. I love sports. So I remember watching the game, eating, playing, just things that kids do. You know, young kids do. Late on that night, I fell asleep. Uh, I dozed off. My mom's TV light was on, and my dad is in the room. So I'm asleep. I know I got to go to school in the morning. Something grabbed me violently right here, near my neck, violently, shook me hard and woke me out of my sleep. I know people say they don't believe that demons is real. I'm telling you, this thing shook me. And I kind of looked up, sat up. I was on a bunk bed. So I'm on the top bunk. I'm on the wall, just like this wall behind me, sleeping, because I was always a scary kid. This wasn't my first run-in with seeing a shadow or seeing something like this. I seen a shadow previously years before that coming towards my room, a tall man with a hat. This particular time, I fell back to sleep. A second time, I was not, this thing grabbed me the same way and shook me and pulled me sideways in my bed, pulled me towards the rail of the bed. And I was sideways. When I fell back to sleep, I was straight. This thing grabbed me and growled. It made a grab like, just like that. That's the sound it made. And all of a sudden, there is a shadow standing right by my bed. I look, because I know my dad used to like to play jokes on me and things like that. You know, he'll grab you and scare you, but no, my dad was in the room asleep. My mama was in the room asleep. There's nobody else in the room with me. There's nobody else in the house with me in an apartment that we have. I heard it growl with my eyes wide open. I saw the shadow standing by my bed with my eyes open the same night that I got baptized, the same exact night. Anybody that thinks that these things don't exist, they are real. They are ancient. They're demons. They're real. This thing started running. It had no face. It just had a shadow. And it started running around my room at the speed of light. Just running. I'm looking at it as I'm looking at the ceiling in the dark. I can still see the shadow ran around. He ran around. It got real small into a ball and ran around and disappeared. When I tell you, I jumped out the bed and I ran and looked in I was like, it's no way. I'm looking, I don't see my mom sleep, my dad sleep. And I'm like, oh, it's real. It's real. It's all real. There's no doubt about it. When they say there's Jesus, there's God, and there's the devil and them demons, I experienced it firsthand. I heard it growl with my eyes wide open. I have one other thing that I can think of off the top of my head. My cousin was older than me, and I was getting in trouble by this time, going in and out the jail, getting in trouble, all kind of stupid stuff, just running around with women, fornicating. Just you're thinking you're gonna live forever. You're thinking you can do the same thing forever. So I was homeless, stranded in the streets, had to go live with my cousin, my older cousin, Jerome. Jerome picked me up, went to stay with him. So Jerome had sickle cell. So he sometimes, when people get sick, sometimes they get angry, they're frustrated. My mom had cancer. I dealt with that. So that demon of sickness, can affect you. But I'm telling you, one day he was giving me a lecture about life, and I was messing up this, and that, and we were sitting in his living room. This particular day, as I'm glancing at him, I see a tall demon standing right behind him. I'm not asleep. This is not a made up story. I'm not looking for publicity. I'm telling you, there was a tall demon that was standing right behind him, had the horns that of a moose. Do you know how they draw the devil with these little pointy horns and all this? No, this thing, the face was dark. You could see an eyeballs staring a hole in you. And I'm talking about, it's so intimidating because I looked away because it scared me so bad. When I looked back, it's still standing there, and the horns was the horns that of a moose. You know how a moose had those big, pointy, long horns? When I tell you I was shook, that thing was standing there. Since then, my cousin passed away some years later. Last year in 2024, I started getting visions where the balls of light was showing up. And I knew by these balls of light, these are angels. They showed up in my dreams. I heard the singing of heaven. I do not know what they were saying. This is the most wonderful singing. I saw people bathing. They were bathing. I want to say it could have been washing away their sins before they enter, or they, I'm not sure what it was, but I saw women, men. It was peaceful. I had another vision. I was there talking to people that was there. They were eating apples. There were fruit, pieces of apples hanging, fruits, all kind of fruits. And one particular night, God actually showed up, and I knew there was an angel next to my bedside. I saw the ball of light, the same ball of light that I knew because I've been seeing different visions every other night in 2024. Every other night in 2024, it was just, I seen the rapture. I seen him show up himself, not physically, but it was a spiral, showed up at the ceiling. And he spoke, and it rumbled like thunder. And it scared me. When I tell you the light, the thunder struck first, boom. And when I tell you, you are shook, when they say your soul is trembling, you better be afraid of his power. If he wants to put wrath on you, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing stopping his wrath. But he spoke to me, and there was an angel. I knew, I didn't see the angel, but I could feel that angel was standing next there. The human world and the spiritual world, of course, as you know, is two different things, two different levels of understanding. He spoke to me and said, it sounded like thunder. He says, "How dare you breathe my air and not worship me? But without my air, you cannot breathe." And the angel repeated what he was saying. And the angel had some kind of concerned look, saying, and the angel repeated and said, "The audacity of these humans to commit sins repeatedly with no remorse and not worship God." The angel had a concerned look. I don't know how I could see this, but I could see there was a look on this angel that was testifying to everything God was saying. On a separate occasion, the ball of light hit my window again. I saw choppers in the air shooting at Christians. This had to have been the time of the mark of the beast has taken place. They were black, like military choppers with infrared lights. They were shooting at Christians. And it was terrifying. When I say they were shooting they could detect your body heat by motion sensors, because the military, they can do stuff like that. This thing was shooting down at Christians, whoever didn't get the mark of the beast. The last one I had, I saw, I was out of my body again in heaven, above heaven. I saw Jesus. He wasn't the same Jesus that I saw at the age of 16. This Jesus was serious. He came in on a magic carpet. Like at first, he was smiling, having fun. And then all of a sudden he got serious. He had a serious blank look on his face. He had an armor of bronze. That carpet turned into a horse. And I'm standing above heaven with like maybe a couple of angels or some more people. And we're looking down. And I said, I know who this is. This is Jesus. And I'm going to get a good look at him this time to see what he really looks like. He had the short hair, kind of like short, it's about right here, dressed in an armor. He had a sword, and he was riding. As he was coming towards the earth, there was a curtain, and people were cheering on both sides. They were cheering him on. But he had two armies. One army, they were dressed like Romans with blue on, all blue suits with swords and armor. The second was an all black, had horses, armor, like ancient armor on. And when I saw him riding on the horse, he had the straight look on his face, and it was just a blank look, like he was dead serious. and he didn't say anything, but it was in slow motion. You could see him riding on his horse, and as he went into the earth, the light got so bright I could not see him. I saw his face when he was riding in slow motion, but as he got closer to me, I guess closer to the curtain of earth for the rapture, it blinded me. The light blinded me, and I could feel it. And as the dream ended, I was wide awake, and I could still hear that singing of heaven, and it slowly disappeared. Slowly disappeared. But my eyes was open. Once again, I was not asleep. I heard the singing, but I still couldn't make out the words of that singing. Could not.
Hey, before we get back to the episode, I want to thank today's sponsor. So instead of having businesses sponsor this podcast, I'll let you, the listener, sponsor an episode of God's Voice Daily. And today's sponsor is Cheryl, who shared this message. She said, "Hi, Vlad. This is Cheryl from Oklahoma. Your show is such a blessing. May God richly bless you and your family always." Thank you, Cheryl, for helping making this episode possible. And if you'd like to sponsor an episode, just go to godsvoicetoday.com/support. And now let's get back to the episode. Wow, powerful stuff. So many things to circle back to. For example, back to the shadow people. I was choked by one as well. But it's interesting you saw the Hat Man. A lot of people see this Hat Man. It's always interesting to me, like, why the hat? Who's this? Like a demon with the hat? That's kind of crazy. But interesting. So what do you make, like, everything, just zoom out, all the things that happened to you? Kind of, what do you make of all that? What are some conclusions do you come to?
It's very strange. He has some kind of calling, and I think maybe it's to preach or to spread his word. It's weird. When I was 18, I went to the army, went to Germany. I don't know anybody. I get there, meet a guy that's in church, that was reading the Bible. Didn't know him from a can of paint. The man told me my mother's name. He says, God's got a calling for you. I don't even know this man. And I first got to Germany in the military. Years later, came back, started working a regular job. I'm wild. I'm young, wild. Another guy, young guy, he was reading the Bible all the time. Same guy says, hey, man, God's got a calling on your life, man. Maybe you should start coming to church. And I would get all these officers to go to church. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't, I just, you think you're going to live forever. You can just do whatever you want to do. Everybody wants to do whatever they want to do. That's what the problem is. We violated all the laws. So as I've gotten older, I started getting more interested in reading, learning the word. Why are things like they are now? Why are we so lawless? And it is a calling, because there's no way a man that didn't know me could tell me my mom's name or something's following me. Why would the devil be trying to kill me at such a young age? What does he know that we don't know? What does he know about me that I don't know? Am I a descendant from Africa? Am I descendant to Jesus? Am I a descendant of one of, we don't know. We all could be descendants in some form or fashion. We don't know why, that the Bible speaks of curses on families because of different reasons. We could be descendants of anything, but the bottom line is just, I learned after hitting my head on that brick wall so many times and seeing what I've seen. I survived car crashes. I've survived people pulling guns on me, survived a lot of stuff. And I'm telling you, you will never have peace in your life if the only peace you're going to find is in God at this point, and getting around people that's like you. That's the only peace you're going to find. The Bible even speaks that when the 4 horsemen rode, peace was one of the things that he took away from us long time ago. There is no peace. There will be no peace till he comes back and returns. It's going to go sour. It's going to go bad. So the peace and the refuge that we're searching for is in God, all because we want to do what we want to do and not be questioned by it. He will definitely, he has a way of shutting you down. He has a way of getting your attention. And I know for a fact he exists. I've seen him several times. He's appeared. I felt hands grab me in my sleep, a hand touching me, and I wake up Nobody's there. And I know he's either got his hands on me for a reason, and it was meant. Even before we even came on here, we had so many distractions. I'm trying to get on live, people showing up to my building, people all of a sudden. You can tell the devil tries to throw his monkey wrench in everything. He knows that this message is going to go out. And it's because of podcasts like yours, I survived a lot of tough days. When I discovered your podcast amongst other Christian podcasters and positive things, man, I had some tough days, man, where I was just like, man, I can't believe my life is going like this. But at some point, you got to grab a hold and you just got to put it in God's hand. It's just like, you know what? I can't do this by myself. I'm not in control like I think I am. And this is the only peace I'm going to have. I got to get around people that's like, that's similar, that's thinking like me, and try to stay away from negativity. And, you can't just do what you want to do. That's why we're in such a fix. The world is in such a fix right now. Everybody wants to do what they want to do. They've forgotten about God. We know that his word is not the most popular word anymore because the devil says, do as thou wilt. Do whatever you want to do. It's okay. And then when you do a sin, it starts just as small. And the next thing you know, you're going down a rabbit hole. It's going to pull you into more and more and more. And before you know it, you're in a whole world of trouble. And with regrets and all.
It's interesting. So the devil tells you do what you want, right? Isn't that the slogan for Satanists?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen the devil in my dream. I had a sword fight with the devil as a child. In my dream, he appeared in my dream as a statue that we had. We got some little statue and the horn had got broke off. It's an old statue, but the Bible even speaks of be careful the things that you bring in your house. They can carry spirits as well. My cousin had a dream about this particular little bitty statue that the thing was chasing him. Years later, I had a dream that the statue of the devil turned bigger, and a sword appeared in his hand, and a sword appeared in my hand out of nowhere, and we were sword fighting, but I couldn't beat him. At the end, he stabbed me, and I woke up out of my sleep, like. Same thing. And it was a real nightmare. Like, I wasn't afraid of him because I said, I know who you are, what you want to do. And he's like, oh, you ready? And we just start sword fighting and all this stuff. And years later, it could have been maybe a year ago, when I was having all the visions, he actually showed back up in my dream. He doesn't appear as that statue. He appears to be a cool, good looking, smooth guy, he's suave, but I could tell in the dream he appears to be so nice, but he's really evil. I felt the evil presence, just like inside of his heart. He's so evil, and because I think he did something to some kids in his dream or something. He did tried to kill him, and I saw it, and I said, I saw what you did. And he said, oh man, you're tripping, man. No, I'm not like that. And I'm like, I know who you are, and God's going to destroy you. And as soon as I said that in my dream, I turned around, he disappeared. And and he fled. And I'm telling you, I've had so many different experiences and run-ins like these. So it has to be something that God's been trying to get me to see. And I think maybe he's afraid of if my message goes out amongst other people's messages. He know his time is running out. His time is running short. He knows the lake of fire is waiting.
Yeah, he doesn't want the truth because the truth sets people free. That's why Christians are persecuted all over the world. I remember wondering one day, thinking like, why are Christians persecuted? Christians are like loving, kind people. You squeeze a Christian, love comes out, right? They're like the light. But that's exactly why, because they're the light. And what does the light do in darkness? It exposes everything, right? And
exactly.
That's why we are squeezed out, because Christians don't want, the enemy does not like to be exposed. He does not want the light. So he's trying to put the light out. Now, speaking of Christians, a lot of people watching the show are also Christians as well, but a lot of them struggle hearing the Lord, like how to hear God's voice clear, how to have a relationship with him in this busy 21st century world. People go in and out of faith all the time. The busyness of life, cares of this world, all of that, all at once. hinders a lot of us, So I'm curious, practically speaking, what kinds of things can a Christian do every single day to hear God clear and to get closer to Him?
You have to stay focused. Like you say, there are so many distractions. There's so many distractions, so many things out here. You got different parts of social media. I think the eyes are the window to the soul, as the Bible would say. You got to be careful of what you're intaking. You have to pray. I understand why even the Muslims pray 5 times a day. And I know I have friends, and I asked them, and he said, man, it's so many spirits out here on a daily basis. We pray 5 times a day. And I think you can definitely take pages out of that book, because you have to stay in tune with God at all times. Anything can happen at any given time. You have to be focused, and you got to be, as he says, stay vigilant, for your enemy is like a roaring lion. And it is serious, because you can go out here and you could be in a good mood and boom, here's something happen. Here's something happen. He sends these attacks to you to test you. He's the tempter. That is his job, to test you, to see if you're going to break, to see if you're going to throw in the towel and do whatever. He's going to send the temptation. You have to stay in tune with God. You have to be the higher vibration of yourself versus the lower vibration. Anybody can be a lower vibration, but it takes a heck of a person to attempt to stay on a high vibration of energy, to stay positive amongst everything that's going on. So just not putting yourself in predicaments. If you know you're in a bad place, work to get yourself out of that place. Don't go around people that's keeping up a lot of drama. Don't react. Think before you react. A lot of our people are guilty of just reacting. They're not thinking it out. That's what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to just do whatever you want to do. Do as thou wilt. Do whatever you want, man. It's okay. I'm cool with that, man. You should be able to do that. We have choices. We have freedom of choice. We're not pushing any religion on anybody. But what I'm saying is, you do have a choice. And you have a choice that you will have to answer to one day if you don't repent. You have to repent. But Jesus says, repent and go and sin no more. Turn away from that sin,
Yeah. And speaking of do what thou wilt, I just looked it up. It's from Aleister Crowley. And he said, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Right.
Satan is pretty much, that's what the Church of Satan subscribes to, that philosophy, is do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
It's not dying to self, none of that stuff. Well, William, thank you so much. Appreciate this. Enjoy this. In closing, if someone wants to get a hold of you, what would be the best way?
Well, I be on TikTok a lot. I go by Bootsy. It's BOOTSEY, TWO2, and then FLY, Bootsy2Fly. You can always reach me on there.
Sounds
Facebook
good.
And all.
Sounds good, William. Well, thank you so much for your time. We'll stay in touch. God bless you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, can you do me a huge favor and subscribe to the channel? And also want to invite you to join our free private community with thousands of members at godsvoicefamily.com. And lastly, if you thought this testimony was powerful, wait until you check out what I have for you next. It should be on the screen right now. Go ahead, click on that video, and I'll see you there.